Thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to offer dana, then please do go to justthiszen.org/giving. Your support really does make a huge difference. Thank you so much.
Welcome, everyone. I apologize for that slight delay. I was bringing you up on gallery view so I could feel you there. And thank you for being here today and for supporting this precious Sangha, and for your beautiful stillness during the sitting. And I'm aware you create a feel that people who haven't been for a while can just drop into when they arrive, just join the stream. And if a new person comes, it's all there for them to find their way into this community. So in a way, I kind of see you as see us as watching out and caring for this community. You've been in my thoughts today as I've been preparing something to share with you, and I was wondering what to share, and I want to share during the talk a couple of things I've shared on retreats previously, but they fit in differently to what I want to talk about. If I was an artist, maybe it would be like I drew a tree in a previous series of paintings, but it's kind of I want to do the tree, but I want to include it differently, because I'm not who I was, and nor are you. So the first thing I want to describe is when we have a retreat in a public space, particularly with the county council, I have to talk to the safety officer about our risk assessments to see whether we need additional insurance to the public liability insurance that a building has. And when I describe it, I would say something like, we sit in silence for long periods of time, punctuated by periods of walking slowly around the room, with some bowing, which could be a risk for some backs. And from time to time, we listen to talks about sitting for long periods of time and walking slowly around the room. Now, the last part is a slight exaggeration, but maybe not so much. And then I say, people travel here from all over Europe to do this. And the county council officer doesn't say, count me in. Where can I book for that? He just confirms that apart from the venue's public liability insurance, we didn't need any additional insurance, as ours was a low-risk activity. And I'm thinking about the context of that. And of course, we were looking at practice in a particular context. What is the risk from what we actually do? And the context in anything, I feel, defines what we look for. And John Berger, in Ways of Seeing, wrote, "We only see what we look at." I would probably say we only see what we look for. To look is an act of choice. To look is an act of choice. And I wonder what we risk in our practice together from being in this community. Perhaps to feel into the depths of our precious lives and to open to the flow of calmness and activity in what we may perceive as our busy lives, but coming home to just this. So there is a risk in this activity, but it's not insurable. And I wonder, when you talk to somebody who isn't in the Sangha about this practice, about your practice, what would you say? How would you describe it? Just recently, on the 7th of February, I attended the Nothing Missing Sangha Day, organised by Brendan at the Friends Meeting House. And because I joined at lunchtime, I was able to just join the flow of the day that had already been created. I was able to appreciate the feel and flavour of the day in a way that is not so easy when you're involved in creating the experience. And I could appreciate the years of work and connection that had gone into creating this apparent simplicity, this community. It would be so easy to miss the beauty of it if you didn't have the eyes to see it. It's so subtle, it would be easy to miss it. And I wonder if somebody coming into the room for the first time would be able to apprehend that feeling, or whether they would see a group just sitting very still, just walking slowly around the room, just bowing occasionally, and actually miss the years it's taken to create that feel. It's like if you go into an antique shop and you have an eye for antiques, you can actually see something that is beautifully made, beautifully crafted, but looks very simple. It's deceptive. So to create that day that Brendan offered us was a very precious thing. A teacher once said, "For true perception, you must see right on the spot. As soon as you begin to ponder and reflect, you miss it." For true perception, you must see right on the spot. As soon as you begin to ponder and reflect, you miss it. And I wonder, when we first came to practice with our ideas about Buddhism and our particular needs, I wonder whether it was disappointing to be told, this is what we're going to be doing. Sitting, walking, bowing. And it takes a certain determination to stay long enough to actually feel the fruit of this practice. If you can stay long enough, it happens. It's like being in an art gallery. Have you ever had that feeling of being in an art gallery and actually not really knowing what you're looking at? And you just want to get to the tea room. It's not very exciting. You don't know what's being expressed. You don't know what's gone into the paintings. And sometimes you just need somebody to say, just stop. Just look at this one. I remember being in the gallery in Amsterdam, and I bought an audio guide to some Rembrandt, and I anticipated that I wouldn't like it very much. I thought it would be quite technical and difficult, and but the first words of the guide in my ear as I looked at the Rembrandt was, can you believe what you're seeing here? Can you believe what you're seeing here? And he went on to describe, in particular, the hands in this painting. Look at the hands. And I sometimes feel like that in our practice when we are here tonight. It's like, can I believe what I'm seeing here? You keep turning up and coming back, and all the beautiful colours of the room, and your beautiful selves. You're like paintings. So it's very easy, I think, for somebody who's new to resist the temptation to go to the tea room for the entertainment. Because sometimes this practice isn't very entertaining, is it? And it's not evaluated on a basis of entertainment. I remember sometimes in the early days, someone would say to Flint, I really love the walking. And he wouldn't go, yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? He just heard them. And then somebody would say, I really hate the walking. He'd go, yes, it just is whatever our minds do with each activity. So we can follow our minds, we can become intimate with our minds again and again and again. So, speaking of art galleries, in Returning to Silence, Katagiri Roshi describes, I think it's pronounced sumi painting, I may be wrong. He says, in Japan there is an art form called sumi painting. Sumi painting just uses black ink and a brush. Perhaps you have seen a sumi painting. Tiny boat, fisherman in the boat, ocean, and in the corner just one tree. That's all. Imagine you were passing that in a gallery. You'd miss it. And he says with sumi painting, you have to see and listen to the rhythm of the universe, the rhythm of the world, the tree, the boat, and the ocean. According to Buddhism, mind is just like the sound of the breeze in the sumi painting. There, on the paper, is the pine tree and the ocean and the boat, and you can feel the breeze and hear the sound of the ocean from the painting. And I was thinking, similarly, in the Zendo, we can see and listen to the rhythm of the universe. We can live inside time, which is a rare thing for us, in the simplicity of our seats, an altar with a Buddha and some flowers, and the space we inhabit together. And it's not about appreciating something lovely, it's opening to the mystery of ourselves. So just like looking at this sumi painting, which looks so simple, practice is opening to the mystery of ourselves. Have you ever wondered why a Zen schedule is organized the way it is? I wonder if it's so you don't get stuck. It's somewhat disruptive. You have half an hour sitting, and then some walking, and then some bowing, and then a talk, and then you go and cook, or you do some roles that you're assigned, and then you're back to sitting, and walking, and going for practice discussion. And then you hear a talk. And on a retreat, after a talk, you don't go into breakout rooms, or you don't go into groups, certainly not straight after a talk. You sit, you don't reflect, you try to avoid making what you've heard into another belief, something that we can grasp. And I'm curious what our minds do with what we hear. I'm curious about what your mind does as you translate what I'm saying into you. And I'm curious what happens with me when I translate a talk into Joshi mind. What do I hear? What do I apprehend? What do I cling to? And what can I let go? Once in Dokusan, a student approached Suzuki Roshi, and she repeated something that he'd said in a Dharma talk, and he shook his head. And the student said, "No, but you said," he said, "when I said it, it was true. When you said it, it was false. When I said it in the morning, it was true. When you said it, it was false." So what happened then? What's he pointing to? What happened in translation where we think we've got it, what someone said, and then we realize maybe that's not it? There's a case in the Gateless Gate series of koans, case 37. It's called the cypress tree in the courtyard, or probably more suitably for us, the oak tree in the garden. And once when a monk asked Zhauzhou, "What is the meaning of the ancestor coming from the west?" Or "What is the meaning of Bodhidharma coming from the west?" Zhauzhou replied, "The cypress tree in the courtyard, or the oak tree in the garden." So Bodhidharma was the person who brought Chan, which eventually became Zen, to China in the 5th or 6th century, the Common Era. So the transmission from the West was attributed to Bodhidharma. So John Tarrant says the question could be, why did Bodhidharma travel all the way to China to teach? Or you might ask, what stories do you carry with you out of the past? Who are your ancestors, and how do they open or close your life for you? So who are your ancestors, and how do they open or close your life for you? And John Tarrant goes on to share that Zhauzhou might be saying, you are asking about Bodhidharma as if he were safely in the past. You could meet the oak tree and your life with Bodhidharma's eyes. If you hold the oak tree up against your question, you could go on the journey he made and make the discoveries he made. So there's something about Zhaozhou's very immediate reply. It's like, it's historical, and it's really, really not. It's really here, right now. And there is more to explore with this koan, which I'd love to do another time, but I want to just move on to an aspect of it that I want to focus on this evening, which relates to what I've said previously. In his commentary on this case, Gyugo shares that Zhaozhou's answer had shaken the world of Chan. For that, read Zen. It was so popular that to some extent it became his slogan. His teaching was the oak tree in the garden, or one of his teachings. Gyugo says, I often say, it's all good, IAG. That's one of the things Gyugo teaches. It's all good. Recently, my students have started to repeat this. This is not good. They must make it their own, otherwise their wisdom life will perish. We must make each teaching we have our own, otherwise our wisdom life will perish. Zhaozhou had a famous attendant, so we're moving on to after Zhaozhou had passed away. And his name, and I'll try and pronounce it, was Guanzhou Huijie. And he was asked after Zhaozhou's death by Feiyan Wenji, did Zhaozhou really say the reason the ancestor came from the west is because of the oak tree in the garden? Huijie replied, no. When Huijie was pressed by Fei and he replied, Zhauzhou would never say that. Don't criticize him this way. Now you have to go and wash your mouth out. So what's happening here? Zhauzhou really did say this. But Huijie is saying, no, he didn't. What's the teaching here from Huijie in the way we apprehend the teachings? The verse from this case is, words cannot reveal it. Speech does not rise up to the occasion. And I think the last two lines are quite crucial here. Those who inherit words will perish. Those who stick to phrases are lost. Those who inherit words will perish. Those who stick to phrases are lost. So my question is, how can we keep what we have heard and seen alive in our practice? On the other hand, I once saw a Zen cartoon at the back of Tricycle, I think it was. And the question was, in my practice, if I don't understand it and don't feel it, what should I do? And I thought the teacher was going to say, well, if you don't understand it and fully, and it doesn't feel sincere, you shouldn't be saying these things. And he said, fake it until it's real. So, is it fake it until it's real when we hear these things and we discuss them in breakout rooms? Or will we inherit words in this way and perish? Those who stick to phrases are lost. Jukusha Kwong said, somewhere between our understanding and not understanding is the way. Somewhere between our understanding and not understanding is the way. So, I wonder if there's a real invitation to turn towards our minds. What do we do when we hear things and see things? We all do something different. So I'm going to finish with a quote by somebody called Rinne Pete, who met Suzuki Roshi. She said, just say good morning, he used to say. That is enough. Then move on with your life. Don't get stuck. So maybe for us tonight, just practice together and appreciate each other. That is enough. Then move on with your life. Don't get stuck. Thank you very much.